The stars were bright in the deep space. Zektor was standing near the large window of his research station. He was looking at a small blue and green planet below. This planet was called Earth. Zektor had studied humans for 10 years now. He was a scientist from the Velk species. His people were peaceful. They never fought wars. They never understood violence. Zektor thought humans were the same. They seemed weak. They seemed simple. They built small cities. They grew food. They made art and music. For 10 years, everything was normal on Earth, but today something was different. Zektor saw bright flashes of light on the planet's surface. He moved closer to the monitor screen. His tentacles started shaking. More flashes appeared. These were explosions, big explosions. The human cities were burning. Zektor pressed the emergency button with his tentacle. His team rushed into the control room. 6 other Velk scientists ran to different screens. "What is happening down there?" Zektor asked his team. His voice was shaking. One scientist checked the scanner readings. "The humans are fighting," he said. "Fighting each other." Zektor could not believe this. How can they fight their own species? This made no sense to him. The Velk never fought. When they had problems, they talked. They shared resources. They helped each other. But humans were different. Zektor watched the screens more carefully. He saw human soldiers moving in groups. They were carrying weapons. They were building walls. They were shooting at other humans. This was organized. This was planned. This was not a small fight. This was something bigger, something the Velk had never seen before. The other scientists were scared. They wanted to leave. They wanted to go back to their home planet. But Zektor was curious. He needed to understand this. Why would humans hurt each other? What could make a species fight itself? "I must go down there," Zektor said to his team. Everyone stopped working. They looked at him like he was crazy. "You cannot go there. It is too dangerous," one scientist said. But Zektor had made his decision. His commander tried to stop him. "Those soft creatures are killing each other." "You will die too," the commander said. But Zektor did not listen. He prepared his small landing ship. He put on his protective suit. He took his recording devices. He wanted to study this human behavior up close. The ship flew down toward Earth. Zektor could see more explosions as he got closer. The sky was full of smoke. Buildings were destroyed. Some were still burning. His ship landed at the edge of a human city. The landing was rough, but safe. Zektor opened the door slowly. He stepped out onto human soil for the first time. The air smelled like fire and metal. He heard loud sounds in the distance. Boom, boom, boom. These were the sounds of human weapons. These were the sounds of war. Zektor started walking toward the destroyed city. His recording device was on. He was documenting everything. The streets were empty. Broken glass was everywhere. Human vehicles were turned over and burning. But he saw no bodies. Where were the dead humans? He walked further into the city. The explosion sounds were getting louder now. He was getting closer to the fighting. His tentacles were shaking again, not from cold, from fear. What kind of species destroys its own home? What kind of species fights itself? Zektor needed answers. He kept walking toward the sound of war. He did not know that what he was about to see would change his understanding of humans forever. He did not know that this moment would change the entire galaxy. Zektor had landed on the human planet. What he would see next would change the galaxy forever. He walked deeper into the ruined city. His 6 eyes scanned everything around him. The buildings looked like they were cut in half. Some walls were still standing, but most had fallen down. There were holes in the ground from explosions. Zektor stepped carefully over broken concrete and twisted metal. He could hear voices now, human voices. They were shouting something. He moved toward the sound. His heart was beating fast. The Velk did not have much experience with danger. They lived peaceful lives, but Zektor forced himself to keep moving forward. Marcus told the other soldiers to take the wounded man to safety. Then he looked at Zektor. "Come with me. It is not safe here. You need shelter." Zektor followed Marcus through the broken streets. They moved quickly. Marcus seemed to know where every danger was. He moved like he had done this many times before. They reached a large building that was half destroyed. Marcus opened a heavy metal door. They went downstairs into a basement. It was dark, but Marcus turned on lights. This was a bunker, a safe place underground. There were supplies here, food, water, medical equipment, and books, many human books. Marcus sat down on a metal box. He gestured for Zektor to sit too. Zektor sat on the floor. His body was not built for human chairs. Marcus pulled out an old book from a shelf. He opened it and showed Zektor pictures. "These are from our history," Marcus said. "This war happened 80 years ago. Millions of humans died." Zektor looked at the images. He saw destroyed cities much worse than what he saw today. He saw thousands of human soldiers. He saw massive weapons. His blood ran cold. And this one. Marcus turned pages. This war happened 30 years before that. And this one, another 50 years before. Zektor counted quickly in his head. Humans had fought hundreds of wars, thousands maybe. "How many humans have died in all these wars?" Zektor asked quietly. Marcus closed the book. "Too many to count. But we are still here. We keep surviving. We keep growing." Zektor could not understand this. "Your species fights itself for practice?" he asked. Marcus shook his head. "We don't call it practice. We call it evolution. Every war teaches us something. Every battle makes us stronger. Every loss makes us smarter." Zektor felt something he had never felt before. It was not just fear. It was something deeper. He was looking at a species that learned from pain, a species that grew from destruction, a species that refused to die. No wonder humans seemed so tough. They had been testing themselves for thousands of years. Marcus stood up and checked his communication device. He frowned. Zektor saw the worry on his face. "What is wrong?" Zektor asked. Marcus looked at him. "Enemy attack is coming. They found our position." "How long do we have?" Zektor asked. Marcus picked up his weapon and checked it. "About 5 minutes. You should stay here where it is safe." Marcus started walking toward the door. Zektor stood up quickly. "Where are you going?" Marcus turned and looked at him with calm eyes. "Out there. My team needs me." "But you will die," Zektor said. His voice was shaking. Marcus smiled again. That same sad smile. "Maybe. But if I hide here, my friends will definitely die. I cannot let that happen." He opened the door. Zektor heard explosions getting closer. The whole bunker shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. Marcus started climbing the stairs. Zektor moved to the doorway and watched him go. "Stay here, alien," Marcus called back. "You are about to see why we are still alive." Then he was gone, running toward the sound of battle, running toward danger, not away from it. Zektor stood at the bottom of the stairs in shock. What kind of species runs toward danger? What kind of species chooses to fight when they could hide? He moved slowly up the stairs. He had to see this. He had to understand. He reached a window and looked out carefully. He could see Marcus joining a group of other human soldiers. There were only 12 humans total. And in the distance, Zektor saw the enemy. There were at least 40 soldiers coming toward them. 40 against 12. Any logical species would surrender. Any smart species would run away. But the humans were preparing to fight. They were checking weapons. They were taking positions behind broken walls. They were getting ready. Zektor whispered to himself in disbelief. They are going to fight. They are actually going to fight. Zektor was about to witness something no alien had ever seen. Humans at war. He pressed his face against the dirty window. His 6 eyes were wide open. He could see Marcus and his team of 12 humans. They were spread out behind broken walls and destroyed vehicles. Each human had a weapon. Each human was looking toward the enemy. The enemy soldiers were moving closer. Zektor counted them again. 40 soldiers. Maybe more. They had bigger weapons. They had better armor. They looked stronger. The logical outcome was clear. Marcus and his team would lose. They would die. But Marcus was not running. None of them were running. The enemy soldiers started shooting first. Loud sounds filled the air. Bullets hit the walls near Marcus. Concrete exploded into dust. But Marcus stayed calm. He made a hand signal to his team. Zektor did not understand the signal, but the other humans did. They all moved at the same time. 3 humans ran to the left, 3 ran to the right. The rest stayed in the center with Marcus. They were splitting up, dividing into smaller groups. The enemy soldiers looked confused. They did not know which group to shoot at first. Marcus's team started shooting back, but they were not just shooting randomly. Each human was aiming carefully. Each bullet had a purpose. Zektor saw one enemy soldier fall, then another, then another. The humans were hitting their targets. The enemy had more soldiers, but Marcus's team was more accurate, more precise. They wasted nothing. Every movement had meaning. Every shot counted. Zektor realized something amazing. These 12 humans were fighting like one creature, like a single organism with many parts. When one human moved, the others covered him. When one human reloaded his weapon, another human protected him. They did not need to speak. They understood each other perfectly. The battle continued. Explosions were everywhere. The noise was terrible. Zektor's sensitive ears were hurting, but he could not look away. He saw something that shocked him. One of Marcus's soldiers got shot. The bullet hit his shoulder. The human fell to the ground. Zektor thought he was dead, but then the human moved. He grabbed his weapon with his other hand, the hand that was not injured. He kept shooting. He kept fighting, even with a bullet wound, even with blood running down his arm. The human did not stop. "How is this possible?" Zektor whispered. The Velk would die from such pain. Their bodies would shut down. But humans kept going. It was like pain did not matter to them. Or maybe pain made them fight harder. Another human ran to help the wounded soldier. He pulled him behind better cover, but he did not retreat. He did not run away to safety. He stayed and kept fighting beside his wounded friend. Zektor saw tears in the wounded human's eyes. Not from pain, from gratitude, because his friend stayed with him. Marcus was in the center of the battle. He was shouting orders. Move left, cover the right side, watch the rooftop. His voice was strong and clear. He was a leader. The other humans trusted him completely. They followed his commands without question. An enemy soldier got too close to Marcus. The enemy raised his weapon to shoot Marcus in the back. But another human saw this. He threw his own body in front of Marcus. He took the bullet meant for Marcus. The human fell down hard. Marcus turned and saw what happened. For 1 second, Zektor saw pure anger on Marcus's face. Then Marcus shot the enemy soldier. The enemy fell. Marcus dropped to his knees beside his fallen friend. The friend was badly wounded. Blood was everywhere. "Get to safety," Marcus shouted at him. The wounded human shook his head. "Not without you," he said through the pain. Marcus lifted him up. Another soldier came to help. Together they carried their wounded friend behind a thick wall. Then Marcus went right back into the battle. His face was different now. Before he looked tired. Now he looked determined, dangerous. The enemy soldiers were starting to retreat. They had started with 40 soldiers. Now only 20 were still fighting. Marcus's team had started with 12. Now 10 were still fighting. 2 were wounded but alive. The math did not make sense. The smaller force was winning. Zektor watched as Marcus gave another signal. All the humans moved forward together. They were not defending anymore. They were attacking. They were pushing the enemy back. The enemy soldiers panicked. They started running. Some dropped their weapons. Some surrendered. Some kept running until they disappeared. In 15 minutes, it was over. The battle was finished. Marcus and his team had won. 10 humans against 40. And the 10 humans won. Zektor slowly left his hiding spot. He walked out into the battlefield. His legs were shaking. The ground was covered in empty bullet shells. The air smelled like smoke and blood. Marcus saw him coming. Marcus was breathing hard. His face was covered in dirt and sweat and blood. Some of the blood was his own. He had a cut on his face, but he was smiling, actually smiling. "How did you do this?" Zektor asked. His voice was barely a whisper. Marcus looked at his team. They were helping the wounded. They were checking on each other. They were tired, but alive. "We don't fight to survive, alien friend," Marcus said. "We fight to win. Those are different things." Zektor's mind was spinning. The Velk fought to survive when they had no choice, but humans fought to win. Even when survival was not guaranteed, even when death was probable, they still chose victory over safety. This was insane. This was illogical. This was terrifying. And it worked. Zektor looked at the 12 humans. These were not super soldiers. These were regular humans, normal humans. And they just defeated an enemy force 3 times their size. Marcus sat down on a pile of rubble. He was exhausted. Zektor sat near him. There was silence for a moment, just the sound of wind blowing through broken buildings. Then Marcus spoke again. "This is just a small human war alien friend," he said quietly. "You want to see something really scary? Let me tell you about World War II." Zektor's tentacles froze. His 6 eyes stared at Marcus. "There is more?" he asked. Marcus nodded. "Much more. In World War II, over 50 million humans died." Zektor felt his blood turn to ice. 50 million? That was more than the entire Velk population. That was more than most species in the galaxy. And humans survived it? Marcus looked up at the sky. "We did not just survive it. We learned from it. We grew stronger because of it." Zektor could not speak. He could not move. He had witnessed one small human battle and it terrified him. But that battle was nothing compared to human history. Nothing compared to what humans had done to each other over thousands of years. And they were still here, still fighting, still winning. Marcus stood up slowly. "Come on, let's get inside. You look like you need to sit down." Zektor followed Marcus back to the bunker. His mind was full of questions, full of fear, full of a new understanding. Humans were not weak. They never were. They just chose to appear weak. They chose peace when they could choose war, and that made them more dangerous than any species Zektor had ever studied. Because when humans finally chose war, they were unstoppable. Marcus was about to teach Zektor the most terrifying truth about humanity. They sat in the bunker again. Marcus brought 2 bottles of water. He gave one to Zektor. The Velk could drink human water, so Zektor accepted it gratefully. His throat was dry from fear and shock. Marcus drank half his bottle in one gulp. Then he reached for that old history book again. The same one from before. But this time he opened it to different pages. Pages Zektor had not seen yet. Marcus pointed to a picture. "This is World War II," he said calmly, like he was teaching a simple lesson, not describing the death of 50 million beings. Zektor looked at the image. It showed thousands of human soldiers, more humans than he could count. They were all carrying weapons. They were all moving in the same direction. The picture was in black and white, but Zektor could feel the power in it. "How did 50 million humans die?" he asked. Marcus turned more pages. There were pictures of destroyed cities. Entire cities turned to dust. Nothing left but rubble. "Bombs," Marcus said. "Really big bombs. We created weapons that could destroy everything in seconds. We dropped them from flying machines. Whole cities vanished in bright light and fire." Zektor's tentacles trembled. "You created weapons to destroy cities? Why would you build such things?" Marcus looked at him with those calm human eyes. "Because the enemy had them too. Or we thought they did. So we built them first, just in case." Zektor could not believe what he was hearing. Humans built weapons that could kill millions, not to use them, but just in case. This level of destructive thinking was beyond anything the Velk understood. "We would never build such weapons," Zektor said. even if we could. Marcus nodded. I know. That is why you would lose a war. He said it so simply. Like it was an obvious fact. Marcus showed more pictures. Machines called tanks, metal monsters that rolled on tracks and fired explosive shells, flying machines called planes that dropped bombs from the sky, boats as big as buildings called warships that carried thousands of soldiers. Humans had created all of this, not recently, almost 100 years ago, and these weapons were primitive compared to what humans had now. How many wars have humans fought? Zektor asked. Marcus thought for a moment. Big wars.
Zektor felt sick. His species had existed for 10,000 years. In all that time, the Velk had 0 wars. Humans had thousands. And yet humans were thriving, growing, expanding. This made no sense. Every war should make you weaker. Zektor said, every battle should reduce your population, your resources, your strength. How are you still alive? Marcus smiled. That is the thing you don't understand. Every war does hurt us. Many humans die. Many cities are destroyed. But the humans who survive learn something valuable. They learn how to fight better, how to build better weapons, how to work together under pressure, how to never give up. Marcus turned to a page showing human faces. These are soldiers from different wars. He said, this man fought in World War I. This woman fought in World War II. This young man fought in Vietnam. This old man fought in Iraq. All different wars, all different times. But they all learned the same lessons. Never surrender. Protect your friends. Fight for something bigger than yourself. Zektor studied the faces. They all looked different. Different skin colors, different ages, different expressions. But they all had the same look in their eyes. Determination, strength, purpose. So every war is training? Zektor asked slowly. Every battle is practice for the next one? Marcus put the book down. Not exactly. We don't want wars. Most humans hate war. War brings pain and death and suffering. But war also brings out something in humans. Something buried deep inside us. The will to survive no matter what. The refusal to accept defeat. The ability to adapt and overcome. These things sleep inside peaceful humans. But when war comes, they wake up. And once awake, they make humans almost impossible to kill. Zektor remembered the battle he just witnessed. 12 humans defeating 40. Now he understood why. Those 12 humans carried thousands of years of war knowledge in their blood. Every tactic, every strategy, every hard lesson learned by their ancestors. It was all there, passed down through generations, built into human thinking. Marcus stood and walked to a small window. He looked out at the destroyed city. You asked why we fight each other, he said quietly. The truth is we don't really know. Maybe it is in our nature. Maybe we are just broken somehow. But I will tell you what I think. Zektor moved closer to listen. I think humans fight each other, so we are ready for anything. Marcus continued. We don't know what is out there in the galaxy. We don't know what threats exist. But when they come, and they will come eventually, we will be ready. Every human war is terrible. But every human war makes us stronger. It teaches us. It prepares us. We fight ourselves so nothing else can destroy us. Zektor felt a chill run through his body. Marcus was right. Humans were not fighting for land or resources or pride. They were unconsciously preparing for something bigger, something cosmic. But what enemy are you preparing for? Zektor asked. Marcus looked up at the ceiling, up toward the stars beyond. We don't know yet. Maybe we will never know. Maybe there is no great enemy out there. But if there is, when they come looking for easy prey, when they come to conquer or destroy, they will find humans. And humans don't surrender. Humans don't give up. Humans fight until they win or until they die. And we are very hard to kill. The way Marcus said it was not boastful. It was just fact. Simple truth. Suddenly a loud beeping sound filled the bunker. Marcus grabbed a communication device from his belt. He pressed a button. This is Marcus. Go ahead. A voice came through. Urgent message from command. All units stand down. Ceasefire effective immediately. Marcus looked confused. Ceasefire? Why? The voice on the device sounded stressed. We just received a distress call from alien space. Multiple species under attack. They are requesting help. Marcus looked at Zektor. Who is attacking them? The voice answered. Unknown hostile species. They call themselves the Kresh. They have already destroyed 3 planets. Zektor's blood froze. The Kresh. He knew that name. Every species in the galaxy knew that name. They were conquerors. Destroyers. They had weapons and ships and soldiers beyond counting. They took what they wanted. They killed anyone who resisted. And now they were attacking the peaceful outer worlds. Attacking species who had no military, no weapons, no warriors. Species like the Velk. Zektor grabbed his own communicator. He called his home planet. Please answer. Please. A voice came through. Zektor? Is that you? It was his commander. Yes. What is happening? Are you safe? Zektor asked frantically. The commander's voice was shaking. No, we are not safe. The Kresh are here. They attacked our orbital stations. They are demanding surrender. We have no way to fight them. We have no weapons. No army. Nothing. Zektor felt panic rising. How long do you have? The commander was silent for a moment. Maybe 2 days. Maybe less. Then they will destroy us. Help us, Zektor. Please. You're our only scientist near a strong species. Find help. Find anyone who can fight. The communication ended. Zektor looked at Marcus with desperate eyes. Tears were forming. Something the Velk rarely did. My people are dying, Zektor said. His voice was breaking. The Kresh are attacking my home. We have no military. We never needed one. We thought the galaxy was safe. We were wrong. Marcus stood very still. He was thinking, processing. Then he spoke into his communication device. Command, this is Marcus. I have a scientist from the Velk species here. His people are under attack by the Kresh. They need help. What are your orders? There was a long pause. Then the voice came back. Stand by, Marcus. This goes above our level. We need to speak with Earth leadership. Zektor looked at Marcus with hope and fear mixed together. Will your people help us? Why would humans help aliens? You have your own war to fight. Marcus put a hand on Zektor's shoulder. A gesture of comfort. You came to the right place, alien friend, he said with a small smile. Because if there is one thing humans are good at, one thing we have practiced for thousands of years, it is fighting bullies. And these Kresh sound like the biggest bullies in the galaxy. Zektor wanted to believe him, but he had seen human war, human weapons, human violence. Would humans really use that power to save strangers? Would they risk their lives for a species they barely knew? Marcus seemed to read his thoughts. You are about to learn something else about humans. We love fighting each other, but we hate it when someone else tries to hurt our neighbors. The galaxy was under attack. Only humans could save them. But would they? Marcus told Zektor to wait in the bunker. Then he left to speak with his commanders. Zektor sat alone in the dark room. His mind was racing. He thought about his family back home, his friends, his fellow scientists. They were peaceful beings. They had never hurt anyone. And now they would die because they had no weapons, no soldiers, no way to defend themselves. He felt helpless, more helpless than he had ever felt in his life. Hours passed slowly. Zektor tried to stay calm, but fear was eating him from inside. Finally, Marcus returned. He was not alone. 3 other humans came with him, 2 men and 1 woman. They wore different uniforms than Marcus. These were leaders, high-ranking officers. The woman spoke first. Her voice was firm but not unkind. I am Commander Chun. This is General Petrov and Admiral Williams. We understand your people need help. Zektor stood up quickly. Yes, please. The Kresh have attacked multiple peaceful worlds. My species has no military. We will be destroyed in days, maybe hours. I know humans are busy with your own war, but I beg you, please help us. General Petrov stepped forward. He was an old human, maybe 60 years old. His face had many lines and scars. He had seen many battles. "We have discussed your situation with Earth leadership," he said slowly. "This is not a simple decision. We are currently fighting our own war. Our resources are stretched. Our soldiers are tired. Sending them to fight aliens in deep space is a big risk." Zektor felt his hope dying. Admiral Williams spoke next. He was younger but looked very serious. "However," he said, "we have also considered what happens if we do nothing. The Kresh destroy your people. Then they move to the next peaceful species. Then the next. Eventually they will reach Earth. Better to stop them now than wait for them to come to us." Commander Chin nodded. "There is also another factor," she said. "Humanity has been isolated in this galaxy. We have met very few alien species. Most ignore us or avoid us. You are one of the first to study us peacefully, to treat us with respect. That matters." General Petrov crosses arms. "But I will be honest with you, alien. Many humans don't want to help. They say this is not our problem. They say we should focus on Earth first." There was a vote among the leadership. It was very close. Zektor felt his heart sinking. "So you will not help?" he whispered. Marcus put his hand on Zektor's shoulder again. "Let them finish," he said quietly. Admiral Williams smiled slightly. The vote was close. But ultimately humanity decided to act. "We will help your people. We will fight the Kresh." Zektor could not believe what he was hearing. "You will help us? Truly?" Commander Chin nodded. "We will. But understand this. We are not doing this just for you. We are doing this because the Kresh represent a threat to everyone, including us. If we let them conquer peaceful species today, they will come for Earth tomorrow. So, yes, we will help, but we are also helping ourselves." Zektor did not care about the reasons. Help was help. "Thank you," he said. His voice was shaking with emotion. "How many ships can you send? How long will it take?" General Petrov smiled for the first time. It was not a friendly smile. It was a warrior smile. "We are mobilizing now. Both nations have agreed to an immediate ceasefire. All human military forces are being redirected. We will send 200 warships, fighters, bombers, support vessels, everything we have." Zektor was amazed. 200 ships? That fast? You were fighting each other an hour ago. Marcus laughed. "That is the thing about humans. When we have a common enemy, we move fast. The woman and man fighting in the street this morning will be brothers in arms tonight. Old enemies become new allies. It happens every time." Admiral Williams checked his datapad. "We estimate 30 hours until the fleet reaches your home system. Can your people hold out that long?" Zektor thought about it. His people were not fighters, but they were smart. They could hide. They could run. They could buy time. "I will tell them to evacuate to the underground shelters, to avoid direct confrontation. Yes, we can hold for 30 hours. "Good," Commander Chin said. "Then we have a plan." The next 30 hours were chaos. Zektor watched as humans prepared for war. He had seen them fight each other. But that was nothing compared to this. Human soldiers from both nations worked together. The enemies from yesterday were now teammates. They shared weapons. They shared supplies. They shared strategies. There was no hesitation, no arguing, just pure efficient preparation. Factories that made consumer goods were converted to make ammunition. Civilian transport ships were turned into military carriers. Every human with military training was called to service. Young and old, men and women, everyone who could fight was ready to fight. Zektor stood in a command center watching screens. He saw human warships launching from Earth, one after another. Big ships, small ships, fast attack fighters, heavy bombers, support carriers. They all lifted into space and formed into groups. The precision was beautiful, like watching a dance. Each ship knew exactly where to go. Each pilot knew exactly what to do. Marcus stood beside him. He was wearing a combat uniform now. Full armor and weapons. "You're going too?" Zektor asked. Marcus nodded. "Would not miss it. This will be the first time humans fight aliens in open warfare. This is history being made. On the screen, Zektor saw 200 human warships gathering in orbit around Earth. They looked small compared to the planet, but he knew they carried incredible destructive power. He had seen what just 12 humans could do. What could 200 ships full of trained human warriors accomplish? The thought was both comforting and terrifying. Commander Chen's voice came over the communication system. All ships, this is command. Final check complete. All systems green. All personnel ready. Mission is clear. Protect the Velk homeworld. Defeat the Kresh invasion force. Show the galaxy what humanity stands for. There was a pause. Then she continued. I know many of you were enemies yesterday. I know some of you have friends who died in our civil war. But today we are not enemies. Today we are humans. One species. One mission. One goal. Protect those who cannot protect themselves. Fight those who prey on the weak. Win because losing is not an option. Her words were simple but powerful. Zektor saw human soldiers on the screens. They were nodding. They were ready. The ships began moving. Slowly at first, then faster. They accelerated toward the edge of the solar system, where they would jump to faster than light travel. Marcus turned to Zektor. We should go. My ship leaves in 5 minutes. Zektor followed him to the landing pad. A small fighter ship was waiting. Marcus climbed in. Zektor climbed into the passenger seat. The cockpit closed. Engines roared to life. They lifted off the ground and flew toward the fleet. Zektor looked back at Earth one last time. That small blue and green planet. Home to a species that fought itself for 10,000 years. Home to warriors who chose peace but were always ready for war. Home to humans. The fighter joined the main fleet. Zektor could see all 200 ships now. They were spread across space in perfect formation. He contacted his home planet. His commander answered immediately. Zektor, where are you? What is happening? Zektor smiled. Something his species rarely did. Help is coming. The humans are coming. Hold on for 30 more hours. We are coming. His commander sounded confused. Humans? But why would they help us? Zektor looked at Marcus in the pilot seat. Because that is what humans do. They fight bullies. No matter who the bully is, no matter where they are, humans stand up for those who cannot stand up for themselves. The fleet jumped to faster than light speed. Stars became streaks of light. Space itself seemed to bend around them. They were traveling faster than Zektor thought possible. Human technology was more advanced than he realized. Much more advanced. Marcus was calm as he flew. He checked his weapon systems. He checked his shields. He checked his communication links. Everything was ready. The flight would take 30 hours. 30 hours to cross the distance between Earth and the Velk homeworld. 30 hours before humans met the Kresh in battle. Zektor tried to sleep, but could not. His mind was too active. He kept thinking about what was coming. The Kresh had 500 ships. Maybe more. They had conquered 50 worlds. They had never lost a major battle. They were experienced. They were ruthless. They were powerful. And humans were bringing only 200 ships. The numbers did not favor humanity. But then Zektor remembered the battle he witnessed. 12 humans against 40 enemies. The smaller force won. Maybe numbers did not matter when humans were involved. Maybe determination mattered more. Maybe the will to fight mattered more. Maybe humans had something the Kresh did not have. Something that could not be measured in ships or weapons. Marcus noticed Zektor was awake. You should rest, he said. Big fight coming. Zektor shook his head. I cannot sleep. I am too worried. What if the Kresh are too strong? What if 200 ships are not enough? Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke. You know what the Kresh's biggest mistake was? Zektor looked at him. What? Marcus smiled. They attacked peaceful species. They thought peace meant weakness. They thought no military meant no threat. They were wrong. Peace does not mean weakness. Sometimes peace means choice. Your people chose peace because you did not need war. But humans, we chose peace even though we are very good at war. That makes us different. That makes us dangerous. Zektor understood now. The Kresh had never fought a species like humans. They had fought peaceful species who did not know how to fight back. They had fought simple species who had basic weapons. But they had never fought a species that practiced war as an art form, a species that studied battle for thousands of years, a species that treated combat like science. The Kresh were about to learn something new. They were about to learn why some species choose peace, not because they are weak, but because they are too strong, too dangerous, too deadly to risk starting fights. Time passed slowly. Finally, Marcus's control panel beeped. "We are approaching the Velk home system," he announced. "All ships prepare for combat." Zektor looked at the screen. He could see his home planet in the distance, beautiful and blue, but around it were Kresh ships, dark and angular. They looked like insects, metal insects waiting to devour his world. There were so many of them, more than 500, maybe 600. They surrounded the planet completely. Any ship trying to land would be destroyed. Any escape attempt would be stopped. The Velk were trapped. But then the human fleet arrived. 200 warships dropped out of faster than light speed. They appeared suddenly, all at once, in perfect formation. The Kresh ships detected them immediately. Alarms must have been sounding on every Kresh vessel. Commander Chen's voice came over all human communication channels. "All ships, this is command. Target the Kresh fleet. Weapons free. Show them why Earth is still standing after all these years." Marcus gripped his controls. His face was focused, determined. "Ready. Here we go," he said quietly. Zektor gripped his seat. His hearts were pounding. The battle for the Velk home world was about to begin. Humans versus Kresh. 200 ships against 600. Logic said humans would lose. But Zektor had learned something important. Humans did not follow logic. Humans followed will, and human will was unbreakable. The Kresh had conquered 50 worlds. They had never lost a battle. They were about to meet humanity. The space around the Velk home world was filled with ships. Kresh vessels were dark and covered in sharp edges. They looked like predators, designed to kill, designed to destroy. The human ships were different. They were smaller, less decorated, more practical, built for function, not fear. The Kresh commander sat in his flagship. He was watching the human fleet on his screens. His species was reptilian, cold-blooded, cold-minded. He saw only 200 human ships. Against his 600, he laughed, a deep hissing laugh. "This will be easy," he said to his crew. "These humans dare to challenge us? Destroy them." The Kresh fleet moved forward. They fired first. Thousands of energy weapons lit up space. Bright beams of death racing toward the human ships. But the human ships were already moving. They did not stay in formation. They split apart, scattered in all directions, like birds fleeing from a predator. The Kresh weapons missed most of their targets. Only a few human ships were hit. Their shields absorbed the damage. The Kresh commander frowned. "Why are they running?" he asked. "Are they cowards?" His weapons officer checked the sensors. "Sir, they are not running. They are repositioning." Marcus flew his fighter in a wide arc. Zektor held on tight as the ship spun and dove. Other human ships were doing the same. They moved in patterns that seemed random but were not. They were spreading out, surrounding the Kresh fleet, creating distance, creating angles. Marcus spoke into his communication system. Blue Squadron target their command ships. Red Squadron hit their flanks. Gold Squadron protect the planet. Stay mobile. Stay unpredictable. All pilots confirmed. The human fleet was not attacking yet. They were studying, watching, learning. The Kresh fired again. Another wave of energy beams. This time the human ships moved before the weapons fired. They dodged. They weaved. They anticipated where the shots would go. The Kresh commander was getting angry. "Stop moving and fight," he shouted. His crew fired faster. More shots. More weapons. But hitting a moving target is hard, especially when that target knows you're aiming. The humans had fought each other for thousands of years. They knew every trick, every tactic, every pattern. The Kresh were using standard military doctrine, textbook strategies. predictable movements. The humans could read them like a book. Then the humans started firing back. But they did not fire randomly. Each human ship targeted a specific crash vessel. Multiple human ships focused on single targets. 3 human fighters would attack one crash ship from 3 different directions. The crash could only defend one direction at a time. Human weapons hit their targets. Crash shields flickered and died. Then their hull plating exploded. One crash ship went dark. Then another. Then 5 more. The crash were dying. The crash commander could not believe it. His fleet was larger. His ships were bigger. But humans were winning through coordination and precision. Marcus locked onto a crash destroyer. It was firing at the planet below, trying to hit the Velk shelters. Marcus would not allow that. He flew straight at the destroyer. Enemy weapons tracked him, fired at him. He dodged left then, right then, up then, down. Never in a straight line. Never predictable. He got close. Very close. Then he fired all his weapons at once. His missiles hit the destroyer's engine section. It exploded in a ball of fire and metal. One more enemy down. Zektor watched in amazement. Marcus was smiling. Actually smiling while flying through a battlefield. Having fun while people were dying. This was insane. But it was working. Commander Chin was directing the battle from her command ship. She watched hundreds of screens at once. Tracking every human vessel. Tracking every crash vessel. She saw patterns. She saw weaknesses. Blue squadron push forward. Red squadron fall back and regroup. Gold squadron, I need you on the western flank now. Her orders were clear and quick. Human pilots obeyed instantly. No questions. No delays. Just action. The human fleet moved like a living thing. Adapting. Changing. Responding to every situation. The crash fleet moved like a machine. Rigid. Inflexible. Slow to change. The battle continued for 2 hours. Space was full of explosions and laser fire. Debris from destroyed ships floated everywhere. The crash had started with 600 ships. Now they had 400. The humans had started with 200 ships. Now, they had 190. They had lost only 10 ships. 10 human ships destroyed, but they took out 200 crash vessels. The mathematics were impossible, but real. The crash commander was panicking now. How are they doing this? He screamed at his officers. They are outnumbered. We should be winning. His tactical officer spoke quietly. So they fight differently than any species we have encountered. They do not follow standard combat patterns. They adapt constantly. They sacrifice individual ships to save others. They have no fear of death. Marcus heard a distress call. Human ship Nova 3 is hit bad. Engines failing. Life support critical. Marcus changed direction immediately. He flew toward Nova 3. So did 5 other human fighters. They formed a protective circle around the damaged ship. Crash vessels saw the easy target. They moved in to finish Nova 3. But the 6 human fighters fought like demons. They fired everything they had. They rammed crash ships when they ran out of ammunition. 2 human fighters crashed into crash destroyers, sacrificing themselves to save Nova 3. The damaged ship managed to retreat to safety. 4 human fighters died to save 12 crew members on Nova 3. This was a human way. No one left behind. Every life mattered. Zektor was crying now, not from fear, from emotion. He had never seen such loyalty, such sacrifice, such brotherhood. The Velk would never do this. They would save themselves first. But humans save each other first, even at the cost of their own lives. This was what made them unbeatable. Not their weapons, not their ships, not their tactics. It was their willingness to die for each other. That bond was stronger than any shield, stronger than any armor. It made them fight harder, fight longer, fight better. The crash commander made a decision. He opened a communication channel to the human fleet. Commander Chin answered. This is Commander Chin of Earth Forces. The crash commander appeared on screen. He was large and covered in scales. His eyes were yellow and cold. I am Commander Thrax of the Kresh Empire. You fight well, humans. Better than expected, but you cannot win. We still outnumber you 2-1. Surrender now and we will let you leave. Commander Chin smiled. It was not a friendly smile. You have it backwards. You should surrender. We will give you one chance to leave peacefully. Thrax hissed in anger. You are fools. We have conquered 50 worlds. We have destroyed countless fleets. We have never lost. Commander Chin leaned forward. Then today will be a learning experience for you. Let me tell you something about humans. We have been fighting for 10,000 years. Not against aliens. Against each other. Every war, every battle, every soldier who died. They all taught us something. They taught us how to fight, how to survive, how to win. You attacked peaceful species. That was your first mistake. Because now you face the species that chose to be peaceful. Not because we cannot fight, but because we are too good at it. Thrax was about to respond, but Marcus interrupted the communication. Commander, this is Pilot Marcus. I have something to add. Commander Chin nodded. Go ahead, Marcus. Marcus spoke directly to Thrax. You made another mistake, too. You thought peace meant weakness. You thought no military meant no threat. But you never asked why species choose peace. My friend Zektor is here. His people chose peace because they did not need violence. They are scientists, explorers, teachers. They build and create. They do not destroy. But humans, we chose peace even though we love war. Even though we are good at killing. We chose peace because we know how terrible war is. We have seen it. We have lived it. We have died in it for thousands of years. Marcus continued. So when you attack peaceful species, when you hurt those who cannot defend themselves, you wake something in humans. Something we try to keep sleeping. You wake the warrior in us, the soldier in us, the part of us that refuses to surrender, refuses to lose, refuses to let bullies win. And once that part wakes up, it does not stop until the threat is gone. Thrax was silent. Marcus finished his speech. So here is what happens next. You leave now. You go back to your empire. You never attack peaceful species again. Or we destroy every single one of your ships. Then we find your home world. And we teach you what happens when you pick a fight with humans. The choice is yours. There was a long silence. Then Thrax spoke. His voice was different now. Less confident. You are bluffing. You cannot destroy us all. Commander Chin pressed a button. Suddenly, all 190 human ships powered up their weapons at the same time. Every missile, every laser, every gun, all pointed at the Kresh fleet. This is not a bluff. She said coldly, this is a promise. Leave now or die. We do not care what you choose, but choose quickly. We are losing patience. The Kresh fleet hesitated. They had never faced an enemy like this. An enemy that was willing to die to win. An enemy that fought with calculation and passion. An enemy that turned battle into art. Thrax made his decision. All ships retreat. He ordered. We withdraw. His officers looked shocked. Sir, we still outnumber them. We can still win. Thrax shook his head. No, we cannot. Look at their eyes. Look at their determination. These are not normal fighters. These are something else. Something we are not prepared for. We retreat now. We study them. We learn about them. Then maybe we fight them again. But not today. Today we live to fight another day. The Kresh fleet began moving away from the planet. Slowly at first, then faster. They jumped to faster than light speed and vanished. The battle was over. The humans had won. Cheering exploded across all human communication channels. Pilots were celebrating. Crew members were hugging. Even Commander Chin smiled with relief. But Marcus was quiet. Zektor looked at him. We won. You did it. You saved my people. Marcus nodded slowly. Yes, but we lost good people doing it. 12 ships destroyed. Hundreds of humans dead. They died so your people could live. Never forget that, Zektor. Never forget what it costs when humans go to war. Zektor would never forget. He had witnessed something incredible. Something the galaxy had never seen. Humans at full strength. Humans united. Humans fighting for others instead of themselves. The human fleet remained in orbit for 3 days. They helped repair Velk infrastructure. They gave medical supplies. They shared food and water. They treated the Velk like friends, not strangers. Zektor watched as human soldiers played with Velk children, as human engineers taught Velk scientists, as human doctors healed Velk wounded. These same humans who fought so brutally in space were gentle and kind on the ground. They could switch between warrior and helper in seconds. This flexibility, this duality, this was what made humans special. On the 3rd day, Zektor returned to his research station. He sat at his desk and began writing his report, the report that would be sent to every species in the galaxy, the report that would change how everyone viewed humans. He wrote for hours, trying to capture everything he witnessed, everything he learned. Finally, he reached his conclusion. He read it out loud to make sure it was correct. Humans are not the strongest species. They are not the smartest species. They are not the fastest species. But they're the only species that sees war as learning. The only species that gets stronger from fighting. The only species that stops fighting themselves the moment someone threatens their friends. Zektor continued writing. Other species should know this truth. Humans chose peace. They did not fall into it. They did not stumble into it. They chose it after 10,000 years of war, after millions of deaths, after countless battles. They know what war costs. They know what violence brings. And they chose to stop. But that choice does not make them weak. It makes them terrifying. Because a species that understands war completely, a species that masters violence totally, a species that then chooses peace, that species is the most dangerous of all. Because when you force them to fight again, when you give them no choice but war, they become unstoppable. Zektor saved his report and sent it to the Galactic Council. Within days, every major species had read it. Within weeks, human reputation changed completely. Species that ignored humans now wanted alliances. Species that dismissed humans now showed respect. Species that threatened humans now stayed far away. The galaxy learned a valuable lesson. Peace is not always weakness. Sometimes peace is a choice made by those who know war too well. And those who know war too well are the last ones you want to fight. Marcus visited Zektor one last time before the human fleet left. They stood on the station observation deck, looking at the Velk planet below, beautiful and whole, saved from destruction. "Thank you," Zektor said simply, "for everything, for saving us, for teaching me, for showing me what humans really are." Marcus smiled. "We did not do it for thanks. We did it because it was right, because you needed help, because we could help. That is enough reason for humans." Zektor nodded. "I understand now. I understand why the stars should dread your might, not because you want to conquer, but because you refuse to be conquered." Marcus turned to leave. Then he stopped and looked back. "You know what is funny?" he said. "We humans spend so much time fighting each other, arguing, disagreeing, competing. But the moment an outside threat appears, the moment someone tries to hurt our friends, all that fighting stops. We become one. We become united. We become unstoppable. Maybe that is our greatest strength. Not our weapons, not our tactics, but our ability to put aside differences when it matters, to stand together when it counts, to fight as one when others need us." Zektor smiled. "That is a good strength to have." Marcus saluted, a human gesture of respect. Then he left. His ship joined the rest of the fleet. They flew away from the Velk system and jumped to faster-than-light speed, back to Earth, back to their own problems and wars and struggles. But they had left something behind. They had left hope. They had left proof that good still existed in the galaxy, that strong could protect weak, that heroes were real. Zektor watched until the last human ship disappeared. Then he returned to his work. But he was different now, changed by what he witnessed. He had seen humans go to war, and now he understood why the stars should dread their might, not for what they would do, but for what they could do, and chose not to, until they had no choice, until peace was no longer possible, until war was the only answer. Then humans became what they were always meant to be: protectors of the weak, defenders of the innocent, warriors of the galaxy. And nothing could stop them.